Hello, I'm Steve Conkle, the Community Relations Director here at the University House in Issaquah. Before we start today's presentations, I'd like to share a little bit about our beautiful community with you. University House in Issaquah is a premier retirement community where residents share a passion for knowledge, art, and culture, and are committed to staying active in mind, body, and spirit. Our community is devoted to promoting healthy living through rich activity programming, fine dining, and an energetic, friendly atmosphere. We are nestled in the foothills of the Cascade Mountains, where our residents enjoy a small town charm here in Issaquah and inspiring views of nature, all while being close to the bustling city centers of Seattle and Bellevue. And now we are honored to introduce our University House resident panel, who will be discussing a host of topics and taking your questions throughout the presentation. I will now stop sharing my screen and turn the panel over to you guys. And what I'd like to do is just have our panelists, starting with Phyllis, if you wouldn't mind, Phyllis, unmuting yourself, and just a brief introduction of how you came to be a resident here at the University House, and just a brief introduction of who you are, and then we'll kind of go to each resident independently. Go ahead, Phyllis, you're live.
I moved to University House about 3 years ago with my husband, who unfortunately has passed away since. I have a cat also, and I have enjoyed, I think, every minute that I have lived here. The people are wonderful, the service is great, and our facilities are top-notch. We have lots of activities to do, and I think that's about it. It's just a great place to live. Steve?
Thanks, Phyllis. I appreciate that. Carolyn, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Oh, I'm going to have to ask you to unmute here, Carolyn.
Okay, I'm Carolyn Karp. I've lived here about 1.5 years. I have been a school teacher in the area in the Lake Washington School District for 43 years. And I sang with Seattle Opera for a number of years. And then amidst all of that, I learned to fly little airplanes and owned a Cessna Cardinal down at Boeing Field. So needless to say, I've had a very active life, and I searched for a retirement home because I was getting a little bit older and a few medical problems. I searched for a retirement home in the Seattle area for about a period of 2 years. And during that time, I became a member of the list here at University House. In comparing University House with other retirement communities, it can't be beat. And moving here has been one of the most wonderful experiences of my life. I'm extremely happy here. I also have a cat, and I'm lucky enough to still be able to drive. So my car is parked downstairs, and I have driving privileges, which has made the coronavirus pandemic be a little bit better for me because I can go to the store. Sometimes I just get in my car and take a drive up the hill because it's so beautiful around here. But I have to say that I am very content here in my apartment. I'm involved in a lot of activities. The most helpful to me is I work out at the pool 3 days a week because I have back problems. And so that is important to me. The food has been wonderful. And before the pandemic, the activities were incredible, and I'm sure they will be again. So the only other thing that I would like to add is we have the most wonderful employed staff here, from the front desk to the servers to the people who come and clean our rooms. Everybody who works here cares about us. And that is what I probably enjoy the very most. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Barney, how about you? Oh, Barney, you're on mute. There you
Okay.
go.
Okay, our adventure started several years ago when a doctor recommended that we find a retirement community. We had to stop our traveling and sell 2 houses, one in Arizona and one in Washington. And we started our adventure by looking at affordability for these kind of institutions. We looked at location and we looked at lifestyles. We had 5 kids between us. So location became a big issue because they were in 5 different locations. And we had them look at those 5 different locations, and we went around and looked at what they had recommended. To make a long story short, we looked at over 60 different units, and here we are in Issaquah. And we picked this location because it was affordable for us, and it was close to one of our kids, only 2 miles away. And we made the right decision.
Oh, thank you, Barney. I'll just start by taking one of the questions that was emailed into us, and then any of the attendees that want to ask questions, there's a little chat icon on the bottom of your screen. You can just put your questions in the chat, and then I'll keep an eye on that, and we'll pose those questions to the panelists. But I think I can answer this first question, which asked about an in-house TV network. And if so, what kind of programming is available via that resource? So basic cable, high definition cable is part of our rental package here. In addition to that, we do have a programming channel in-house. That's our channel 371. And that channel has all kinds of different content on it. Just to give you an example, today was Bert Wolf Midsummer's Day in Finland to start off. Then there was a TED Talk, What COVID-19 Revealed About US Schools, and a creative way to mediate. There was chair yoga. There was Yale University at noon today, Old Testament interpretation. There's a 1 o'clock themes in humanities lecture. There's mindful relaxation. There's a better balance class. There's core strengthening, and then there's masterpieces in the National Gallery. There's a symphony on later today, and then bedtime mindful relaxation. So we try to fill that channel with content that our residents will find interesting, and it's been good for us. So I have a question in the chat. I'd like to just go to a couple of questions that I have here that are questions for the resident panel, and then you can decide which of you would like, just by raising your hand, which of you would like to take this question. When you decided to look at retirement communities, how did you know when you were ready? Do you want to take that question, Phyllis? You have to unmute yourself. I'll send you a reminder there. There you go.
There, it just flashed.
Yep, you're perfect.
Yeah. Yes, both my husband and I were getting a bit weary of trying to keep ahead of a very large house and a lot of property. And our children started saying, hey guys, I think it's time you need to think about assisted living or something of that order. And so we decided to, we looked at some in the area around Gig Harbor where we live, and then near our other son, or one of our sons who lives here in Sammamish. And by far and large, we chose University House for all its benefits.
Thanks, Phyllis. Carolyn, go ahead.
Well, I was in the situation, I owned a condo in Bellevue, and it was right across from Microsoft, and everybody that lived there besides me seemed to work for Microsoft. And I found that there was just no one that I had anything in common with. At the same time, I was beginning to lose a lot of friends, either by poor health or death. And I thought, I need to start planning for my future, and it needs to be my future, not one planned for me by my family. And so I started looking on my own for a place for me. And I think that is extremely important, because the people that are truly happy here that I've met are ones that have had an impact on the choice of being here. And so before your family decides that you have to go to a facility like this, my advice is start looking yourself and pick the one that fits you. And University House was a perfect fit for me, because the emphasis at that time was we had trips to the concerts and to the theater, and we will again, I'm sure. And we had art, and we had entertainers come in here. And so everything that went on here, plus the educational classes that were available, were things that were important to me. My son would have moved somewhere else because his interests are different. So think about who you are and what you want. And I think that is the most important.
Thank you, Carolyn. So we have a question that is, how long did it take you to adjust to your new space and lifestyle? And was there anything specific that helped you? Barney, can you speak to that one?
Well, it takes a lot of adjustment. I'll tell you what helped me, I guess. I spent 30 years in the Air Force. I moved around a lot during that 30 years. And after I moved to Seattle, my wife and I moved around here a lot. So moving and owning different houses and having different things, it was a lifestyle change for us. We had to sell 2 houses. That was a major problem to do that. And it took us approaching a year to get that all accomplished and to get moved into here. I think that the lifestyle change was the hardest, and we still have that issue. We miss those kind of things that we had, but we formed a new lifestyle here. And I think it's important that we understand that we've got to get interactive with things here. You can't just be here. It just doesn't work. We found that during this virus situation where, hey, we were just here and we had to get involved with other things to keep our sanity going with us. The health issue is always a big one. And of course, getting involved with the food here is fabulous. We have a bad day every once in a while when we don't have something that we particularly care for. But that happens when we cook at home also. But there's always the variety. And I think you've got a variety of a lot of things here that will help you adjust to this lifestyle. Being positive has helped.
One of the questions is there assistance in moving even from the East Coast? We partner with HB Moving Services. So we've got some partnerships with movers that can assist. So we would probably refer you to them and have you consult with them to see whether or not they could be of help to you. A lot of our residents have used HB Move Services. They're specialists in moving seniors into communities like ours. So they're terrific, but we would probably refer you to them for that. Another question is, what was the hardest part about moving? If one of you wants to take that. Carolyn, you want to take that question?
The hardest part about moving is getting rid of the things that you own and downsizing to whatever size of an apartment that you decide to rent. And I attended 2 classes presented by University House on downsizing and techniques of making choices. But even then, that was the toughest thing. But I planned my move pretty well. I measured the walls and I knew which paintings were going to come. And for the most part, the things that I brought with me are things that I truly love and enjoy. And I don't really miss all the stuff that I had acquired in my lifetime. But that is hard for some people. So you have to think about yourself and what is going to be hard for you to get rid of. Paperwork you don't need anymore, I'll tell you. There's a lot of sentimental stuff that you have collected, and by and large, your kids don't want it. But do have your kids come and go through all of your things and say, take this, and see what their reaction is. But I think the hardest part is getting rid of all of that stuff. But the wonderful feeling you have once you've done it is incredible. And I look around this little apartment that I have. I'm in a studio actually, and I love my environment here, but and I don't miss my stuff. That's it. That's all I had to say.
Yes, I think that's one of the hardest things is deciding what you're going to do with all of your treasures that you have. I had a wonderful daughter-in-law that came to, excuse me, my new apartment and measured everything and figured out where everything would go that we took. And we also had a company that came and took away the leftovers. So stuff can be dealt with.
Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis. A question was, maybe Barney, you could speak to what efforts are you aware of that University House does to ensure safety of the residents? You're muted, Barney. Barney, are you there? Or you're muted right now. There you go.
Okay. The safety issues here are several folds. Number one, to start with, you have a little button you press every morning to say, hey, I'm alive and well. And then there's phone calls during the virus that twice a day they call and say, hey, how are you doing? So they're interested. There's all kinds of other safety issues here. First of all, you're in an environment where you're pretty safe from the standpoint that all the doors are locked, but you have a key to get in and out, and that's helpful. We have a staff here that's very attentive to people that enter down below. We also have a safety council. I call it a safety council. One of the residents here, he was one of the guys that helped construct this building. So he has very detailed knowledge about how things work. And he has taken the time to instruct some of us in case of an emergency or on a weekend or when staff is not fully staffed, that we can supplement and help that staff with some of the functions like turning off an emergency, turning off the gas supply, knowing how to open the doors when the fire alarm goes, and reiterating, what do you do in case of the fire alarm goes off? We've gone through those kind of issues, how to turn off the water, and those kind of things, which I think has been very helpful to some of us. So safety is a big concern.
We have a great question from Carol, and her question is, what did you do to become integrated into your new community? So Phyllis, do you want to take that question?
Yes. I'm on mute.
No, you're all set.
Oh, okay, thanks. Yes, I have enjoyed many of the activities. They're well publicized, so I watch for things that I was interested. I have joined a book group. I do exercises. I'm always on the eye for tours when we're able, which we are now, able to go on tours again. And I just find that there's a dearth of there's so many things to do that it's hard to pick and choose, and not, and so it's very easy to stay involved with everything.
Thank you, Phyllis. So Carolyn, I have a good question that surfaced that would be a good one for you. How long did it take you to make the decision about moving? How many other places were considered?
I probably visited 15 to 20 places. It really took me 2 years to make that decision, although early on I made the deposit here and to be on the wait list. And I'm not sure if you still have a wait list because we we have some vacancies, but at that time, the facility was pretty much full, and so I had to wait to get the apartment that I wanted. And so during that time, I kept revisiting here, but I visited a lot of other places as well. And I think it's important to make a list of the things that are important to you. One of the things that is important to me is the kind of doors and patio type of exit. We have sliding glass doors, and I have a little bit of claustrophobia. So I need that sliding glass door, although I don't think I would jump out of there. I'm on the 3rd floor, but I need that sliding door to tell me that I can get out. And I know that's crazy, but we all have little things that you want. I also wanted a facility in which the cat would be comfortable. And I also wanted a good place to park, and I can park right downstairs, and it's indoors and it's warm, and I can go to my car, get in my car, drive wherever I want, come back, and I'm comfortable. So I made a list of the things that I wanted. And then as I visited all of these other places, I could look and see if they met my list. And that took about 2 years. Another factor was the fact that my son's office is here in Issaquah. Although once he got me settled in University House, I rarely see him, but he is close nearby. So my family also wanted me happy, and that was a biggie. Are you happy here? And my family visited several places with me, and they would say things like, "This is not you, Mom." And my family really concurred with my choice of a university house. So yeah, consider your family, but you need to make your decision. I can't say that enough as to what your ultimate happiness is going to be. If you pick university, then the only person that you have to blame if you don't like it is yourself. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to be happy with your choice. I certainly am.
Thank you. Barney, I got a good question for you that surfaced, and obviously this last 12 months plus has been challenging for everyone as we try to stay safe during COVID. But what has it been like living with the restrictions related to COVID?
Well, that was probably the difficult thing we had here, was we were so free and so easy and so many services available. COVID kind of locked us down, and it was very tough on particularly my wife. And I think that was hard for us. you were pretty much relegated to your room and your apartment with very little outside influence. We did have some things that helped us. We were on the first floor. We had a window that looked out onto a sidewalk where our family could come, and we had virtual picnics. We had virtual birthday parties. We had those kind of things that really helped. The other thing that was helpful inside was what I called my third floor angels. They're the ladies that make up the activities and provide, and the man there's with them too, that provide transportation. And they were extremely helpful in making things and providing us things that occupied our time productively. And of course, getting the meals delivered to you was a pretty nice service. We got a little spoiled with that, I think. And I think we're going to now be able to go down and have meals in a restaurant, which we will enjoy. That was tough not being able to go down and do that. But I think the services provided here during the pandemic were great. I think they were extremely protective of us and our health. In my view, maybe overly protective. But hey, look at the results. You can't argue with those.
Thanks, Barney. I appreciate that. Phyllis, what would you say to those who fear that are feeling fearful to move into a retirement community at this time? I'm just you need to unmute your mic. Perfect.
I would say that things have looked up so much that you should not worry. I'm sure all of these facilities do the utmost to make sure that people are going to be safe and keep apprised of all the latest information from the state and the government. So I don't think people would have to worry about that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And this can be, Carolyn, maybe you could take this question. And this is kind of a loaded question, so maybe more than one of you want to take it, but what do you know now that you wish you would have known when you were considering retirement communities?
Well, as far as my answer to that is, I have a hard time answering that because I spent so long in investigating the University House. I think that probably one of the hard things for me, believe it or not, was to make new friends. I think that I would, had I known what I know now, I would have been maybe more aggressive in meeting new people, because it did take me a while to meet new people, and that was, I should have gone out and met more people. But I'd like to say one thing is that makes this a wonderful place to live. They allow you to decorate and put your things however you want. And so your whole apartment is your decoration and your things, and they encourage you to put things the way you want it and make it comfortable. So it's not somebody that's controlling your life. You really feel like you have control of your life, and then services offered to you that make your life better, such as cleaning your apartment once a week. That is absolutely incredible. And then feeding you, and you have everything that you need, but you still have your own independent apartment. But I think investigating what a living space is keeps you from having any problems afterwards, saying, oh, I wished I knew this. So I find that hard with that answer.
Thank you. I think that's a great answer. Barney, what do you think? What do you know now that you wish you would have known then? I might have lost Barney off here. I just have to unmute Barney. There we
Okay.
go. Perfect.
Okay. I think there's not much that you can answer to that question as far as I'm concerned. I think that what you have to know before you come here is the services that you can expect to have while you're here. And as you grow older, we know that things change in our lives. We have different health issues or more health issues, and you hope that you have picked a place that will be able to take care of you for as long as you live, if you want to put it that way, or at least provide all the services for you now and for the foreseeable future. I think we've done that pretty well, and I'm pleased that University House found those kind of things. I found those kind of things in University House, let's put it that way.
Thank you. Thanks, Barney. Is there any more questions from the attendees before we wrap up? I don't see any more questions in chat at this time, but no? If we have no more questions, I want to thank you again for our resident panel for your informative discussion today. We very much appreciate it. Our community is really excited. We're just sending out a video today of some of the activities and some of the community itself. We are open, and we're open for touring, and we're excited about that. So we've got an opportunity to show off a little bit, and that's exciting for all of us. So anybody attending today, we would love to see you and love to have you see what life is like today at University House. We will be emailing everyone an evaluation form, and we'd love to hear your feedback on this resident discussion panel, as well as any suggestions you have for future Zoom presentations. If you have any questions about University House, or you would be interested in touring or visiting, if you've already toured, we'd love to see you again. As you heard during the discussion, we know this is a process that takes time, and seeing each other occasionally is just nice. So if you would like to give us a call at 425-557-4200, we can set that up. Otherwise, we'll keep you posted on things. Oh, Rosemary, what questions? I didn't get an answer to my question. I want to make sure we've answered Rosemary. Rosemary, I don't know how we missed your question here.
I see more, this is Dorothy, and I see more questions on that chat thing.
Okay, let me take a look at that. We don't want to jump off before we've answered all the questions. So.
All right, I sent a question. I'm a vegetarian, and I asked if my dietary preferences can be accommodated.
I see that, and I apologize that we missed that, Rosemary. We can accommodate a vegetarian meal request. We do our very best to accommodate. We don't typically have a vegetarian alternative on our menu, but we can easily accommodate that. So, yeah, go ahead, Carolyn.
Every meal, every dinner has a vegetarian option, and we get the week's menus so that we know exactly what is going to be served for dinner. And there's always one whole row down here is a vegetarian option. And so like for today, you get a vegetarian is a flatbread margarita pizza, and there are no meat products in that. So I think Phyllis has something to add. But the dining room is very, very thoughtful, and if you request something that you usually get it.
Thank you.
Dorothy, is there any other questions you noticed that we didn't get to here?
Um,
I'm just reviewing it myself, and it seems as if we responded to,
I saw something about, is there any memory care or memory help? Do you have memory care there?
we don't have secure memory care. So some of these questions Savannah has responded to in the chat. That's why I guess we didn't speak out loud to them, but they were responded to. So I do want to let you know that we've got, we have memory fitness, not secure memory care. Those are different. So memory fitness helps maintain your memory, and secure memory care is something we have in other era living communities, but not at this particular community.
Okay, I'm seeing now that there are answers on that chat thing. I didn't realize that some of them were there and not coming into the discussion.
Oh, no problem. And it's certainly possible to miss a question. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. That's super helpful.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we'll go ahead and wrap up our discussion then, and we will be emailing everyone a copy of this presentation, and we'll ask that you give us any feedback, and hopefully we'll see you again here in the near future. Otherwise, that will conclude our presentation today. Thank you, guys.